you see me back here? Let me get close. I have this massive size plane in my hand and it has a 4-foot wingspan. Look at this baby. This is a plane designed for beginners or people that know how to fly planes that just want to have some fun. This is called the Super EZ. They call it the Super EZ because many people want to get in the RC hobby and they say, I want a plane that's super easy to learn how to fly. This is it. This is a ready-to-fly kit. What does that mean? That means you buy this kit, you get the plane, it takes 5 minutes to assemble. Well, for a beginner, it's probably going to take you 30 minutes, but I will show you how to assemble it in this video. For me, it took 5 minutes. They give you the battery, they give you the battery charger, and they give you the remote. So you have everything to get up in the air and go fly. It's that simple. And it has stabilization built in so that if you're brand new at flying, it will not flip upside down and crash into the ground. It will stay level and steady. And then when you get better, you can flick a switch and you can get it to go and do some flips and rolls and stuff like that. Now, it's not the greatest day to go fly today because the sun is behind some clouds. So I don't know how well you'll see this because of the colors. Well, there is some yellow in it, but it would pop better on a bright sunny day. Also, this kit, for the price, also comes with pontoons. Pontoons you can put on and then fly this off water and land on water, which is pretty darn cool. So today, I'm just going to fly it here and show you how well it flies. I've never flown this before, so I'm assuming it's going to fly super well since it is the Super EZ. Let's go. All right, I want to show you really quick. This is the included battery. It's a 3-cell LiPo battery, and they say you're supposed to get 10 to 15 minutes with this battery. That's impressive. You can put up to a 2200 milliamp hour LiPo battery in this plane. It's behind me back there. Yeah, I thought with the 2200 you'd get 10 to 15 minutes of flight time, but they say no, with the 1300 you get that, so I'm interested to see that. And this is the remote you get. It's a very basic remote, but it will get you started flying with this plane. And even though this is a ready-to-fly kit, you will need to provide 4 AA batteries to power this remote, and we're all set. And it comes bound right into the package. You just plug in the battery, turn this on, and you're ready to go. It's that good. Oh, and there's a switch over here on the side. This switch over here, that's for your flight modes. So leave the switch all the way up for beginners. That's stability. I'm going to fly in that today to show you. And then if I put the switch in the middle, that's no stability. The plane's going to fall out of the air if you don't know what you're doing. And if you put it all the way down, that's for windy days. When you know what you're doing, on a windy day you're flying, it will keep it flying nice and level. But I would say for 90% of your flying, leave the switch up at least for the first month of flying, learning how to fly. Now, before I take this up in the air for the maiden flight, I want to show you the components of what you get on the plane and why it's so cool for the price. So I have a GoPro right here, and I'm just going to put it close to everything I'm going to show you and just talk over it. So the first thing I find is pretty cool is it actually ships with the propeller attached. When you buy a plane, a lot of times you have to assemble it and you have to put your own prop on. This one comes with the prop already on, so you're all set. Next, over here for the wings, which are super long, almost 4 feet in length, they're only held on by these 2 plastic screws that you just push in and turn. So if you have to put this in your car, you can then take the wing off and put the wing back on and put these 2 screws in, and you're ready to go in minutes. The wing has ailerons right here, so that's going to let you go left and right. You'll notice there's no flaps. That's due to the price, and it is a beginner type plane, so there's no flaps there. Going down the body, we do have a working rudder, and that rudder is attached to the back wheel back there. So as you go down the runway, you can go left and right. And of course, we have our elevators back here. Aluminum landing gear over here, very light, and you can replace this with the included pontoons, which look like this. I'm showing them right now. So with those pontoons, as you get better at flying, if you live at a cottage or by water, you can then take off from the water and land on the water. It should be beautiful with this. You'll see when you get this, your receiver and everything is underneath the wing, but over here this hatch is where you're going to put your battery in. So you just pull this up, it's all magnetically held in place, and down in there's just a big gapping hole, and you have an XT60 plug, so you can buy batteries on Amazon, anything XT60, get yourself a 1300, a 1500, a 2200 3S LiPo battery, and plug it in here and go fly. It's that simple. All right, I'm down on the snow in my jeans. I really should have worn my snow pants. So this remote here, I'll just show you in this other camera. You just press these 2 buttons really fast. There, it's on. So we're ready to go. And with the remote on, make sure this switch is all the way up and make sure this is all the way down, because that's your throttle. When you lift it up, this prop is going to spin and you could really hurt yourself if you're not paying attention. So make sure this is always down until you're ready to fly. Now with the remote on, I'm going to put it over here, someplace where I don't knock it or anything like that. And I'm going to connect the battery. The battery is pretty simple. To get the center of gravity on this plane, push the battery all the way to the front. I've got the battery in. You can see I just have to connect it. We're all set. But before I do that, I just want to check the center of gravity. In the manual, I'll get down on this camera. In the manual, it tells you how many millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing back it is. I think it's 55 or 60 millimeters. I'll put below what it is. And then just put a little black mark with a marker. And then take your 2 fingers and then put your fingers on those marks. You can see I have a mark over here and a mark there. And what should happen is when I hold the plane like this, the tail should not fall and hit the ground. So there it is. It just sits like that, and that's how it's going to fly. So CG is good. So just put the battery all the way to the front. That's what works on this plane, at least in my test right now. But I haven't flown it, so I don't know. I could be totally wrong. We'll see what I fly. And then when you connect the battery, just make sure you don't have any body parts by the prop, just in case something goes wrong with your remote and you had it on. Don't worry, it won't start up. It's going to beep how many times the battery is. So if I put a 3S battery, I'll get 3 beeps. Plug it in, I should hear the 3 beeps. Lean back here, listen for it. Takes a second or two. It's going to set itself up. There we go. She's ready to go. Now, let's just bring this in view of the camera raws. We'll just make sure all the components work. So first thing I'm going to check is the ailerons. You should see them move. There we go. Ailerons moving. Now let's check the rudder. In the back, the rudder. There we go. And then the elevator for up and down. So I want to go up. There's up and there's down. That's good. And then of course the motor. I'll bring it over here. That left joystick, lift it up. And it goes and crashes into my GoPro. Well, that was silly. Okay, so I didn't damage the prop, but don't do that. Okay, so the only thing I'm worried about out here is the snow is very hard. It's not soft snow. So it's like really bumpy and there's lots of holes in it. So I'm hoping it doesn't nose in, but we'll see. It might take a little bit of runway. Here we go. I'm moving the joysticks very slowly because I am not used to these joysticks at all. But there she is. That's what it shows on my hat cam. So I haven't done any trimming on this. Trimming just means that maybe it's going to the right a little bit, to the left a little bit. I'm gonna bring it down, put some power, bring it up close to the ground. Look at this. Weebie! That's a little kitty sound to say, hey, we're having a blast out here. Seems like it's flying fine to me. No trimming, no nothing, straight out of the box, 5 minutes to assemble, batteries charged on the included charger, and here I am up flying around in my local field. Oh wow, the rudder is very, very responsive. I can get it to go left to right, right to left. Now I do have a Insta360 Go camera that I put on the bottom. That's just so I can give you some footage as it's flying around here, because it is pretty dull and my hat cam may not pick up everything. There it is right there. Look at it. Pretty cool. I'll show you what I mean with the rudder being so responsive. Okay, I'll come back so you can see it. Here's the rudder being super responsive as it's coming to. I'm just going to make it just do a wag in the sky. See, wag, 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 wag. That is incredible. A lot of planes you get, they're not responsive with the rudder. I guess maybe I should explain why that's a pretty good thing. If it was windy out now, the plane would fly almost sideways, but with the rudder, you can counteract the wind blowing it on the side. Just move the rudder and you can get it to go straight. Now, this just comes out of the box. I don't know if it's got high rates or low rates. I would just say, as a newbie flying this, just make sure you don't move the joystick too much. Very little movements is what you need with this. Okay, I'm gonna do a full speed pass so I could show you the speed if you think you have a slow plane. Here, watch this, there's full speed. Oh my God, this thing is fast, look at it. That's fast. That's fast. Not only can it go slow, but it also goes fast. And when you land, make sure you go into the wind. So, oh, there's Jedi Steve over there with the plane. So I'm going to bring it back for a landing. I'll go talk to Jedi Steve. Maybe I can get him to fly this and I'll chase it with my Avata. If you're landing, go into the wind, kill the throttle. I have no throttle. Pull back to lift it up in the air like that. And it just bounces nicely. And then use your prop to bring it over to yourself. Come on all the way over here to me. There you go. And don't chop your legs off. That was the maiden flight. And there's Jedi Steve. He's going up with his plane. He's over there. Next thing we're going to do is take this up for another flight, but I'm going to let Jedi Steve fly it, and I'm going to chase him with my DJI Avata and get some flight footage in the air. So here we go. right, we just finished the flight with the Avata and the little Super EZ with Jedi Steve flying, and I'm going to get his thoughts on what he thought. There we go. Steve, what do you think?
It's very good. Your typical trainer, if you want it to be. It's got the 3 modes like you showed me. There's a completely manual one. There's a kind of safe mode, which helps you fly and not overdo the controls. Or the other mode is like a sports mode. So very good, very nimble for what it is. Like it's a high wing. I like it because for somebody who just learns to fly, you could definitely grow with this. You can leave it on safe when you're learning to fly, then put it on complete manual mode when you're ready, and it's pretty snappy. I was impressed with it.
Now, I'm pretty sure you're interested in this plane already because it's not super expensive. Let me show you how easy it is to assemble. Watch this. This is the box your Super EZ version 4 comes in. Opening the box, we can see the contents, and we're going to go through the contents piece by piece. First items in the box will be your pontoon landing gear. These are your pontoons and they are high quality. They actually come with a waterproof servo and a rudder at the back, very controllable in the water. Next you have your main wing, followed by the tail horizontal stabilizer, followed by the extremely large fuselage, and you will notice that the propeller is already pre-attached. Next you have your aluminum landing gear, your battery and battery charger. A radio is included to fly the plane. Please note that the radio requires 4 AA batteries to power it up. All the small items you need to assemble the plane are included in this bag. And finally, an owner's/assembly manual is included. And now I'll show you how to quickly assemble the plane. Slide the tail horizontal stabilizer through the hole at the rear of the fuselage. Take 2 of the long screws and secure the tail into place. Next, take the included clevis and attach it to the control horn and servo, and it should look like this when put in place correctly. The landing gear is secured in place with the included small screws. Take the main wing and pull out the 2 servo leads. Connect those 2 servo leads to the available 2 free servo leads that are sitting in the fuselage. Just make sure you have the colors matched up correctly. Once everything is connected, slide the main wing into place. It only goes on one way. Next, secure the main wing to the fuselage with the included 2 plastic locking bolts. Push them in and lock them into place by turning them. And finally, turn on your remote, attach the battery, then just make sure everything works. And you're ready to go for your first flight. All right, so you're back to me. Let me give you my final thoughts and words of advice. The words of advice are for the people who fly DJI drones or drones similar to DJI, you know, camera GPS drones. On those drones, your joystick on the left is in the center and you become used to the drone doing all the work for you. It just sits in the air and then you move the joysticks. And you move the joysticks quite a bit. Now, in the RC hobby for FPV drones, for RC helicopters and RC planes, you move the joysticks very little. So if you come from the DJI drone world and you get a plane because you want to get into RC planes, which I highly recommend, that's what I did, then just keep in mind when you go to fly for the first time, move the joysticks very little. You'll get used to the throttle. The throttle joystick's on the left, up and down, and you can keep it at a certain level. Usually halfway is pretty good. And your joystick on the right is what's going to turn it from right to left so you can fly around. And also when you pull it back, it'll make you go up. And if you push it forward, it makes you go down. You just got to get used to stuff like that. But move that joystick very little and you will have a great time and a great flight and just fly in a big grassy field. And like I said, when you want to land, take this throttle thing, have it pointing at you, take the throttle, pull it all the way down. Motor's not running anymore. It's coming down lower and lower to the ground. And just before it hits the ground, pull your right joystick all the way down. It's going to cause your plane to flare and you will land smoothly. It takes a little bit of practice, but hey, we all started at 0 and we all ended up where I am now. All right, guys, I'm going to put links to this plane below. It is by FMS and it was made for beginners. So if you're a beginner, I highly recommend this one. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and I'll catch you in a future video with many more reviews. Until then, I say bye.